G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, episode 162 I believe today, and of course we have a lot to talk about with the pretty much the mid-season we're getting up to now. We're going to be taking a look at our mid-season All-Australian teams. The both of us are going to be taking a look at the contenders this year and what teams we think are the real contenders and the ones that really can't compete. We're also going to be taking a look at our World Cup predictions for the FIFA World Cup coming up in a couple of weeks and much, much more. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it.
Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs.
He looks at his options and Jack Ginnivan says, boys, you brought me to the club to do justice!
But this guy has flog written all over him.
From attack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was.
Introducing my brother, as always. He's been back the last few weeks and spent some time with us after having a long week at work. But, I mean, a good week for Port last week. They're very happy with that performance.
Yeah. Best all season.
Yeah, I would have said so.
Yeah.
Didn't even realise where they were until I looked at the ladder recently and saw they were in 16th position. I was like, that's not a very good start from Power at all.
Those close losses make it look a lot worse than the ladder now.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at the ladder. So obviously, most of you would have seen, except for you, because you don't watch my channel's videos anymore. But apparently, we just went through a huge fight of that just a minute ago. But I did my ladder predictions for the rest of the season, and I actually think that Port Adelaide can rally a bit and get to that 9 wins. But yeah, it's really separating now. I've looked at the fixtures, looked at the ladder. I've got basically the Swans, Dockers, Cats, Hawthorn. I still have Brisbane around the mark, but after that, it's kind of going to be hard to see another team contend unless someone can get on a roll.
Yeah, it's actually funny you say that Port Adelaide could go on a run, because I saw on the advertiser today that they've put out the predictions of how the rest of the season goes for the Port and Crows. They think he's only going to win one more game for the season.
Oh yeah, I saw that. They said West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast is the only. Yeah, West Coast is the only team that's going to whip. They're going to whip Pete. Like, yeah, I don't know about that. We've been competitive against some like good teams. We just haven't won. It's just that. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people are saying that also with the Butters situation, that by the end of the season he's just going to go anyway. So maybe that's going to be a thing on it, with Rosie looking likely not to play the rest of the season. So I don't know.
Would you try and get him back now?
No.
I would leave him out.
No, I think get him ready for the preseason. Yeah. Like there's no point. We're not going anywhere. We're not gonna. There's no point of trying to scrape for a wild card.
Yeah.
No point.
Speaking of that though, do you think Carlton now, because of the wild card, they can, because they've got 3 wins in a row, it's broken up their season?
Don't get me started on the baggers. Seriously, got a couple from work that are fucking supporters. After their win against Geelong, comes in, we're winning the flag.
The flag is
just,
a bag. Flag is a bag.
No. The arrogance of them is back. After 3 wins.
I mean, come on, they got Will Hayward in career best form.
The thing is that their run for the next 4 weeks is pretty good. Yeah. They've got the Bombers, then the Giants. I think West Coast and Richmond in the next 5 weeks, including the bye, which in some ways could be 3 wins.
What happens? Let's say they do rally and they get their season up and, they get to a wild card spot, which no one would have seen happening under the Voss era. It's going to be like, I don't think they should go down the Josh Fraser route, because I do think they need an experienced coach, but it's going to be hard to say no to him.
I think the fact is that when they tried to do it with David Teague, and I think they did it with Brendan Bolton, I think they were both interim. Or was
no,
I know Teague was. Teague was definitely. I think that's why they really don't want to do it. But if they keep winning, the fact is that it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I think it's very interesting to see that the game style they're playing now is like what an up yours to Voss or.
Yeah, I don't know. If anything, I don't think it's been a huge change. I just think they're playing a lot more grunt, and they're just like they're playing a lot more pressure on the ball. And I never seen Patrick Cripps get up that high.
No, not even his Brownlow years.
Yeah, he wasn't even getting that up. If I'm Michael Voss, I'm sitting back thinking, where the fuck was this effort from you cunts 4 weeks ago? I would be pissed off, because I'm like, this is not just a Like, nothing's... I don't think there's been, like, a massive, like, team change or anything like that.
massive sort of game plan shift. It just seems like they want to play a bit. They just want to play for Josh Fraser.
Yeah, the shackles are off. There's no. It doesn't seem like. Well, yes, it's probably a game plan, but it's not like. It just seems like they've just found the key to find some attacking football.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just it is funny though that how the last month has gone.
It does show the ebbs and flows of like how the media were like saying that this team's going to have to go into a rebuild, and now 3 weeks later everyone's praising Carlton
and praising Cripps especially.
Praising Patrick Cripps after calling him for a trade. You take back your comments of saying that they should look to trade him?
I think I did this because I think we've done this like 3 times. I think the second time I was like, don't trade him.
Yeah.
And I'm still on that boat now. I'm like, there's no point. Like,
I don't think you trade.
The only reason you trade him is if he actually asks for it. Yeah. Whatever he wants, you do. He's been there through thick and thin, all the hard roads. Like if he wants to go, you let him go. If he wants to stay and go through some, maybe more tough times, sadly, yeah. If he wants to put it up with it,
even though he played for West Coast for a handful of weeks, for a year or two, he wants to stay that Carlton man for the rest of his life. That's definitely, I think you're right. You leave it in his hands. Now, if you had to look at the contenders right now, you've got the 4 that are sitting there up in the top 4 currently. Do you think anyone else can really contend at this moment in time? I mean, we look at teams back. The Crows last year weren't in the best position, and they rallied, and then they finished on top of the ladder. Brisbane a couple of years ago, we all know what they did then. We don't need to mention it. Don't need to go into a deep dive of it. But of course, the Lions, came from nowhere to finish in 5th. It seems tough to see a team that's really like outside of that area to be able to rally.
So you're going with the 4 of the Freo, Sydney, Geelong, Hawthorn.
I'm going with them 4, and from what when I did my predictor, maybe I was a little bit fortunate or favourable to the Lions based on their last year's form. But they finished 5th in my predictor. So we know what they can do from there. They have a decent run home. My problem is their injuries. Having Kane Zorko out is going to be super tough. I think they added a couple of other players to the injury list in a couple. Yeah,
Kadeem Coleman's come out today. Yeah, he's injured. So that's a lot of I
mean, if you lose Zorko off your back half,
I think it's proven a lot with him out that they don't really know how to move out the defensive half well enough at the moment. But it's hard to say. I think, to be honest, there's 4. Yeah, those 4 in daylight. Really, I think people are saying Brisbane. I'm not completely through Brisbane, but I'm getting close to it. And I think, in a way, if they can't win this week against Gold Coast, or at least show some fight, I think you're nearly done with them. But you can just see it from. They've done it from 5th. They've done it from 4th. You can just see them do it from wildcard, can't you? You just see it doing it from 8th and just going 5 weeks all the way through go through the cup.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You can't count them out. But my thing from last week, because I mean I've been pretty adamant on like you can't rule them out. You can't rule them out. Last week against Fremantle, it looked like there was no belief left. It was like, okay, we've won 2. What's the point in 3? In my eyes, it wasn't like, oh, okay, we can go. It didn't look like a Brisbane team that wants to go and win a premiership in my eyes. Now, I think we hear the stories of 2024 when Zorko, the experienced guys got together and said, do we write off this season or do we keep going? And that was their turning point. I think it was around they played against the Giants or something. And that's when they had their turning point. Maybe they need that moment. But the problem with that is Zorko's not out there to help them. And he won't be back for a couple of weeks, I don't think.
Harris Andrews isn't playing well. Their whole defense hasn't been there the whole year. They haven't been able to have consistent weeks with them all on the same side and having the continuity.
Defense is just not there.
And I think what most people don't say, or what they're not saying, is that Starcevic, the one player that was there through most of it, was always a player that could get on the small forward, was there. Now he's been at West Coast and he hasn't played any game, hardly any football. And was he one of those pieces that you don't really think about? It's kind of like Ryan Lester that.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't played for the last few weeks as well.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes people forget about those role players that actually help you win a premiership. It's not your stars that always that are there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Tigers, from 2017 to 2020, and then when they had a lot of those players start to leave, you know, it was like the Higgins and the Butlers and all those sorts of players, like, you know, moved on to different clubs. That's when they didn't really bring back other players. And I don't think it is the end of Brisbane, because we've seen all their young players that come through. They're going to be fine. But because at the moment those younger players like the Annabels and the Ashcrofts, they are still a little bit young. They're not at their prime yet. There's probably the gap of the bridge between, you know, the young players coming up and the older players coming out. Probably there's a bit of a gap there, which may be why they haven't gone. Those younger players haven't become the stars yet.
Really, you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, they may not win it this year, but they're going to be in finals now. They're going to be in finals for the next. Well, you'd think the next 5 to 10 years.
I mean, obviously it's hindsight. We don't know what's going to happen, but they could be becoming that team that are going to be like the Sydneys and the Geelongs that just are there every year in the finals.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen a team come with them for a very long time. It was probably Hawthorn for a very long time, but of course they did drop off. But for the team that could be there for 15, 20 years in the finals every single year, Brisbane are setting themselves up to do that. But at the moment, this may be a year. They probably make finals. I don't think they're a team that's going to miss out altogether.
Yeah.
But I think they probably scrape into top 6 if they can rally. And if they make a wild card spot, you wouldn't want to play them.
No. That just seems like a game that they would get up for.
Yeah, exactly. But look, let's look at All-Australian talk. So, of course, with round 12 just completed, everyone's kind of releasing their mid-season All-Australian teams. And a lot of the time, the teams change quite drastically at this point of at the end of the season to now. You do kind of see it. AFL.com.au have actually released their mid-season All-Australian team. They went with the backline, Lockie Ash, Cal Wilkie, Tom McCartan, which I really like that addition, of course. Wayne Miller, Aaliyah, and Nick Blakey. Through the centre, they've got Bailey Smith, Zach Butters, and Max Holmes. In the forward line, they've got Shea Bolton, Josh Tracy, Isaac Heaney, Nick Watson, Jack Gunston, and Murphy Reid. In the followers, he's got Luke Jackson, Marcus Bontempelli, Nick Dacos, and on the bench, they've got Justin McInerney, Keziah Pickett, Christian Petrarca, Max Gawn, and Jeremy Cameron. Now, I looked at this team originally, and I was like, honestly, I would be okay with the majority of them. And I think you have a few changes. So what would you be? You wrote down a few. I'll quickly go through mine, actually. So the only real change that I would be making, I'm not trying to make this a bias thing, but I'm surely that Brodie Grundy gets the nod over Max Gawn. I feel like Max Gawn's had a very good year, but I think Brodie Grundy and Luke Jackson have been the standout ruckman this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you think they have to go with 2 because most teams are using 2 ruckmen, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can be too disgruntled if they pick Grundy. If they pick 2 of those 3, you can kind of see which either way they want to go with 2, but you have to pick 2 of them. I think it's only fair that you pick 2 of them. But whichever 2 of the 3 you pick, I don't think you can really say, oh, that's a horrible decision at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the AFL.com.au, whoever wrote this or whoever did this. I do like Tom McCartan's pick. I think he's been heavily underrated for years now as the Swans defender. That's why I was so shocked when Dean Cox in his first season was like, let's chuck him forward. I'm like, hey, why don't you not touch him? Just go with anyone else, please.
Why don't you just walk out the door right now with that decision?
Yeah, exactly. That was a stupid decision. They got him to change that real quick. We might as well chuck Bucket and Hayden McLean back there or something. Just do something other than that. Other than that, I'm personally pretty happy with this team. Like Murphy Reid, from the first half of the year, I think he deserves a spot in that team. Nick Watson's had a brilliant start to the campaign, so I would have him in there. Josh Tracy may be an interesting one over Ben King. I personally like the idea of that, though. Even though he hasn't got the most amount of goals, Josh Tracy, I think the modern centre-half forward playing between the arcs is that contested marking player.
Yeah.
So I do like the choice of him in the team.
Yeah, because they always want to put in the Coleman medalists in the forward line, but Gunston's actually leading that at the moment. But you just think that Tracy is that old-school forward that can take a contested mark, and he's been playing very well. And he might not be kicking up there in the top 5 of the Coleman, but he's doing everything that a forward needs to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Cameron,
I don't like it. I think that's the most he came in with the first 6 weeks of the season playing, or 4 or 5 weeks playing like shit. With a broken arm, and he hasn't. And his good game was against the Bulldogs with 10 goals.
So you wouldn't put him in?
No, I wouldn't put him in there. I think there's a few other. I know it's a midfielders thing, and you just put midfielders all on the bench. But did Zach Butters make that team?
Yeah, they put him in the centre.
Yeah.
I think Ollie Dempsey may be a bit lucky to not be around there. I know he hasn't had as good a year as he did last year, but I still think that wingman role that he plays, he's basically revolutionised the wing role. Being able to, drift forward and stuff. I've got some players here that could have made the team or could be, on the cusp. James Sicily in defence, I think he definitely could be in there. I think he's definitely done a lot better.
I think even I know Tom Brass has been out for a couple of weeks, and same with, but I think I think Ali's played alright. I think he's done very well. I think he's done very well. I think, I don't know. I think there's a few defenders that could have had that position.
Well, there's a name that's been spoken about the last few weeks. He's playing for a team that's in the bottom 4, but I could make a case for Ruben Jinby. Yeah,
I think he's playing very well. Like even with even the game in Gather Round when he played against Jezza Cameron, like he did pretty well to what he did. I think he kicked a few late, Cameron, but Jimby's playing there a very underrated season, and because he plays for such a bad team and not on prime time, not in time slots that you need to get the Australian view media on it, he's playing very underrated and he's playing very well.
The unfortunate thing is when you're playing for a team that can get multiple goals kicked on you most weeks, or get a lot of goals kicked on you most weeks, it is kind of hard to stand out as a defender. And for the fact that he is standing out so quite a few people, I think it does show that if he can continue on his season, the Eagles, for the love of God, don't get smashed by 100 again. Just keep the season going, compete. They've got 3 or 4 wins now, and they're starting to build their season. Like, I think you can't give them a wild card spot. There's no way they make it that far, but because they're just too prone to losing by big margins. But some of their younger players are really improving, and if Harley Reid continues on this form, I don't think he makes an All-Australian, but if he can continue on this form and then build that into next year, we could be seeing the emergence of Harley Reid before our eyes.
Well, yeah, and you look at, there's always the 44-man squad that they come out every year with, 40-man squad, whatever it is. I think you'll be very surprised that people like Ruben Jinby and Harley Reid and some other young players coming through for West Coast that will be in the discussion of that team.
Yeah.
They may not be in the 22, 23 people, but they will be in the discussion of the 40.
Yeah.
And I think that's... showing that they are developing.
Yeah. A couple other names here are Clayton Oliver, who I think's had a pretty underrated season so far for the Giants. I think, considering all their injuries, I think he's got the highest amount of contested possessions out of anyone in the competition right now.
Yeah, I think with him moving out of the Melbourne bubble, getting away from it, I think he's got what he wanted. He didn't want to be in the spotlight, but it's also showing that not a lot of people are taking notice of how good his season actually is.
Yeah.
It actually has been a very good season.
Yeah, and they've got Finn Callahan, who I think he's just gone another level. He's probably, I think he's, I don't want to sound like a Kane Corn sort of type here, but I honestly think he could be in the top 10 best players in the game. Right?
He's getting there.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there.
I would be, if I had to go and list through, it's going to be a bit difficult, but he'd be up there right now. The way he moves and stuff, and Sydney Swan's version of Harry Kyle. One game, and I'm already in love with the guy. Even though fuck this, his mate's getting kicked out of the ground.
No,
Did you see this shit?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Absolutely unbelievable. What the fuck? Who cares? Typical fucking Sydney little bloody wankers. I bet you there was someone in the crowd saying, "Oh, darling, what are those people without their shirts on? Darling, kick them out." There would have been some fucking absolute wank stain in the fucking crowd having a whinge about that, because I don't understand why anyone in the security team would even care. Like, how many people at the cricket would do that?
Yeah, they do it every year in the cricket.
It's ridiculous. But that's probably all the players that really I would have to say. The only change I would make to the AFL.com.au's team, honestly, would be having Brodie Grundy in for Max Gawn. Not that I'm saying that Max Gawn's had a bad year by any means. No way in hell. But I think that Brodie Grundy and Luke Jackson have been the best 2 ruckmen of the competition, and I believe that there should be 2, because I think a lot of the games move to that role. And it'd be tough to take out someone else. Like maybe a Lockie Ash, move Max Holmes into defence because he's played halfback this year, and then put an Ollie Dempsey on the wing. I wouldn't take Max Holmes, but I mean that's probably it. I mean I understand that they're always going to like Isaac Heaney hasn't played forward really much this season at all, but he's a half forward, of course.
Well, he did kick 5 on the weekend.
Yeah,
I think they can justify putting him forward in that All-Australian team, not like chucking a Bontempelli on the wing, like or a contested
they
midfielder.
have improved that over the last.
Yeah, I
couple
know
of
that.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, have you made any? What would have been your huge? Would you make any mass changes?
Oh, I think it's hard to say match changes. Like you look at I think like an Archie Roberts maybe a bit unlucky, but there's probably about
Archie Roberts. I mean, yes, I understand he's had a couple of 40 disposal games.
Yeah, but I'm just more saying. But the role that he plays, you could count another 5 or 6 running defenders in those positions. I think Jezza Cameron's not even close to on the best in that best 22.
I do think that like when you look at the Coleman race, you see him up there and you're like, oh, Jeremy Cameron's having a really good
But he
year.
hasn't. He's played
he's had a bad year.
He's had a good 6 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Really, like his injury, he didn't have a good game until he played an actual good game until he played the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
I think he's playing. He was holding that injury.
Yeah. I mean, he very well could build from here and be All Australian this year.
Oh yeah, but
right now I kind of agree. Looking at it, yeah, I probably would take him out for a Ben King. I think Ben King's still one of the best key forwards in the game. I will say though, I think that even though Hawthorn fans would say he's a great player, Jack Gunston, and I agree too. I do think he probably deserves a little bit more praise. I think that he's missed 2 games this year and he's still at the top of the Coleman. I think he does deserve a lot more praise than what he's getting. What I meant was I understand Hawthorn are giving him that, but I don't think enough people are. I think Jack Gunston does deserve a lot of credit, and Nick Watson as well. They've done a really good duo there. My question with Hawthorn in general has been their midfield for a lot of this year. And even Nick Watson's played through there as well, which is probably interesting to see what happens if they do play Blake Hardwick up forward for the rest of the season. I think they probably should look at that if they want to use some more. Because with Will Day coming back, that does, I think, will probably mean that they will have a little bit more rotation through the midfield. They won't have to, put some other players through there. But I think Nick Watson, they still should try to use that option.
Oh yeah, I think if you're maybe even if for like stopping momentum or trying to gain momentum for 5 minutes, you chuck him in there. Yeah. Just chuck him in for 2 or 3 CBAs or just around the ground and just fire him.
Yeah,
even if he's
using almost like remember when the Crows I think 2017 or whatever, they made that role of like running off that back of the square and just sprinting through the middle of the stoppage.
Yeah.
I don't mind that idea for Nick Watson or something like that. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Overall, is there anyone you'd be like mass changing now? Like one big change?
Nah. I think that's probably 90% right, 95% right.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair. All right, let's move on. We'll move to our fan favourite segment, Rate It or Hate It. Loved by everyone. And, there's a couple of people in the comments who are like, bro, you need to get Andrew Dillon and Laura Kane on the podcast. I'm like, guys, this couch only has room for 2 people. All right? Andrew Dillon's too scared to come down here because he doesn't want to, commit to gather round for too long. All right? I'm sorry. He wants to give it to Tasmania for the money. He's too busy thinking about any sort of cash grab he can get. But that's okay. So we'll keep on going with the segment. So, first question for Rate It or Hate It this week, and this has been the talk of the town throughout pretty much the last 7 days. We missed it because, of course, Essendon decided to sack their coach right after the podcast. I think we announced it last week.
Yeah, I think so. It was announced straight after.
Can people... I think Michael Voss did... Oh, no, I think we got Michael Voss just before.
Yeah, we got it, yeah.
Could you start sacking people on Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, please?
Yeah, especially like Brad Scott. He played Friday night that
exactly.
week.
Monday morning at the earliest, thank you. Anyway, so first question for Rate It or Hate It. Hiring James Hird as Essendon's next coach is a huge mistake.
Yes, I'll rate it. It's a horrible, stupid mistake. The only reason they want to do it is because they're like, oh well, he's our, he was kicked out for reasons that weren't his fault or that he had not all the knowledge for, and what did he do? What was the one thing he did to that team that was going to say that they're going to be finals bound? He got them to the finals, and the same year was when they were kicked out of the finals.
Did he even get them to finals very often?
That was the only time he got them to finals.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And obviously because of the drug scandal, they were kicked out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think to say that, oh yeah, he's going to get us to where we want to be, give him another chance. The reality of it is because of what he's past presidents, past board members, they want to give him a chance, but he hasn't done this for 10 years.
I was going to say, so look, I agree that I think it's a huge mistake. I think that they have to go with someone with experience, because put aside the fact that he was a part of, even if it was just a small thing, he was a part of even a small factor of the reason why they've been down the bottom for basically 10 years and have been irrelevant for 10 years. With the drug scandal. Even though if he had the smallest amount, he would have had some sort of knowledge because he was the head coach at the time.
Mm.
He hasn't done any sort of full-time coaching in any capacity in the AFL level for over 10 years.
Mm.
No assistant coaching, no nothing. He did a part-time role at the GWS Giants in 2022. That's all he has done for coaching for the last 10 years. Mm. And we see how quickly, year on year, the game changes.
Yeah.
Last year it was the game of kick mark. All of a sudden now it's all about the handball game. You're expecting James Hird to come in and just quickly come up with a game plan, have all these kids just lining up ready to go. Mm. There's no way in hell.
No.
I understand that they want to try and like galvanise the club. We need to come together. I honestly think they need to look at Richmond's way with Dimmer Hardwick. Adam Uze came in. He went in for a year. He realised, look, we need to move on from the Premiership. He started, getting rid of the players that didn't want to be there. Shea Bolton, Dan Rioli, Dustin Martin. All of them started to go and said, if you want to play for this club, the new era of the Tigers, you can stay. If you want to go, we're going to get the best offer for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Essendon need to cull the list, but they need to move on from 20 years ago, or 25 years ago nearly, when you were actually a relevant football club.
Yeah, you haven't been relevant since then. And
how fucking... I'm sorry to Essendon fans, but how fucking soft of them to be like, please come back, please come back.
Oh, like what?
You should be looking... These people fucking in the crowd saying, James Hird's our guy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, all the supporters that was hiding those signs, they couldn't be more than 25, or they couldn't be any older than 30, which they don't know what the prior.
Do you even know what success is?
Yeah, do you know what success is? You haven't seen them win a final in your lifetime.
Oh,
it's.
I can't believe that. I would make a bigger case for Kevin Sheedy to come back. Is more of a better option than James Hird. James Hird, look, if he comes back as an assistant coach at Essendon or somewhere else, let him, I don't even think he had much of an apprenticeship as an assistant before he got the Essendon job.
Because he would have
originally. I don't know how much of it.
No, because he would have finished in the late 2000s. Yeah, and then he would have been chucked into the role because it happened in 20.
Who was it? Matthew Knights, I think it was.
Yeah, because the incident happened in 2020. It's 2013, 2014, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he got signed in 2011, James Hird. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he would have been maybe a 2-year thing probably at Essendon.
Yeah.
So what they still don't get Essendon is that if you're going to be in the boys club, you got to move on from that. That's why Andrew Welsh and all that. That's why he's going to get hired. I'll be shocked if it's not heard.
Yeah, and then people are saying like, why are these people who want to be a coach or whatever don't go for this job? Why are they backing out from it? It's like, bro, why would you even bother going for it when literally you got a Carlton job there if you want that? You've got other jobs that could potentially be opening up. Western Bulldogs could even be a job opening if Luke Beveridge doesn't get them to finals.
Yeah, St Kilda, they probably go with Corey Enright at the moment. That's what I'm hearing if Ross does gets fired. But there's roles out there, and I think it was hilarious. I just saw a clip of it on AFL 360 how Jared and Gary Lyon were debating it, and like Gary's like, if you don't want to fight, if it's against Hird, would you go up against it? And Jared's like, no, then get out. I'm like, why would you want to go up against an endless battle? It's a stupid argument.
It'd just be bashing your head against a brick wall.
Exactly. You might, and as Jared says, like, well, then I'll go coach Carlton because, for one thing, they have a better list. I don't know if that's maybe not all right, but it's like, but I've got a better chance of getting the Carlton job than I do of the Essendon job. Yeah. Why wouldn't I at least throw my hat into the process of, and even just.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know if you can. It'd be pretty hard to go through the whole process of becoming a head coach at 2 different clubs. I wouldn't imagine it'd be easy to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And be like, because I mean, what if the club? Because that's what's going to happen. Someone's going to go for both the jobs. They don't get one. The media comes out and says, "Oh, is he really committed to getting the Carlton job because he tried to get Essendon's?" So what's?
I think that's
a story that would be spun.
Oh yeah, 100%. So most of the aspiring coaches will go for the Carlton job because they don't want to have even a go at the Essendon job when they know it's going to go to Hurd.
Yeah. I mean, if Essendon go with James Hurd, look, if they go to James Hurd and he gets them back up to finals and he can win them the flag, their first flag and whatever, and win their first final and whatever, good on them. We were wrong.
Yeah, but
I can't see it happening.
Yeah, exactly, and I think people are saying like if they get Hurd, Merritt will stay. I'm like, if your option is to keep one player
who's over the age of 30.
Yeah, it's like that's crap. I don't know. I think
if that's your whole basis on bringing in James Hurd, it's for Zach Merritt's signature, or sorry, him to keep him from not saying I want to go, please. And clearly, that's not fucking. That's not.
I swear, some of it is. I think some of it's like no joke. Is that they want an Essendon person to win them a final. They want an old Essendon player who was there in the finals in the late 90s, early 2000s, and like, yes, we've won our first final in 25 years. Yes, it was an Essendon great.
Yeah, it's like does it really have to be an Essendon great to do it? Sure, is there any other Essendon greats that are out there coaching right now? Maybe there's got to be someone else, please. I think there is.
I don't know, but it's like... I swear it's going to be like, they win one final, like they're going to celebrate it like they just won the premiership. They're going to be posters of who was the team that won them the final after 20 years. I'm like, you won a final for God's sake, and if you think Hurd's the man, go for it. But as you said, I don't think it will.
I think it was on 7 agendas. I think agenda setters. I'm pretty sure. Nick Rehart made a decent point of saying if they want the best person, they need to be looking for the best coach. I think Essendon are with James Hurd. They're trying to say the best person to galvanise the club. And I think that if they find the best coach, that's the way to galvanise the club.
Yeah.
In my eyes, and that's what they should be looking for. They shouldn't just be looking for someone to bring them all together. If you need that sort of option, bring someone in like Melbourne did, not just with Paul Roos, but with Choco Williams. Bring in someone like that. Even it doesn't have to be Kevin Chitty, it doesn't have to be James Hurd, but surely you could find it. I don't know, what is Choco Williams doing? I think he's at Hawthorn at the moment. Bring him to Essendon and see what happens there. I don't know, but bring in a James Hurd at that capacity. There shouldn't need to bring in, we're just going to give our head coaching role to a guy who hasn't had any sort of experience at AFL coaching.
Or any success either.
Yeah, or much success either. Was he really, was he even going to get them to win a final?
I'd love to know, obviously fucking 10 years ago, I was, still in high school. I wasn't, the most high headline was that thing. I don't remember how they were really performing back then.
I don't think they were performing. I think they had the year when they had 8, when they started 8-1.
Yeah, and then
they had the supplements program, and then it got taken. They stopped it with Stephen Dank, and then that's when they had all those soft tissue injuries.
Yeah,
and they finished out. I think they missed finals. I think it's the best they've done under James Hurd. Yeah,
so much success under this coach.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it'd be the wrong call. As a Sydney Swans fan, who's saying that? Bring in call up John Longmire, see if he can galvanise your fucking club.
Yeah, everyone's saying it should be him to do it.
Maybe he just doesn't want to do it. I mean, I don't blame him either. All right, second and last question for Rate It or Hate It. Just for a minute. Isaac Heaney is better than Marcus Bontempelli. That's been talked about a lot this week.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I do. I rate it. I think so. Actually, no, sorry, no, I hate it. I think because at least Bont's done it in some big games in finals. I'd like this could all change by the end of this year, but Bontempelli has won a premiership. He has single-handedly handled the big moments, and I think the captaincy gives it another, just a bit more pressure on him. I think, yeah. So I hate that it's very close though. But by this time next year, I may be saying otherwise. But
look, if the Swans come out with the Premiership medallion and the cup after this, then
I'd say so. And if he has that sort of Sacramento game of 32 and 5 in a final,
we've got to remember as well that was against the
yeah,
Tigers.
exactly. I think some people can be like, oh, it's recency bias after that performance. He's against one of the shittest teams in the league, but he has shown it a few times this year. But Bontempelli has, as I said, done it so many times over the course of the career. Won a premiership. He's got the captaincy pressure on him. I think Bontempelli's just a little bit ahead.
The way you mention it, the way you frame it, I do kind of agree. Sorry, Isaac, my lord. Sorry. I do see your reasoning for it. I will say Isaac Heaney does. The last couple of years of Isaac Heaney, like even last season when the Swans like had a poor season, he still was like at the top of his game. And I guess Marcus Bontempelli has like if you compared the last 3 years, I would probably give it to Isaac Heaney. But if you can compare like even what they've been together in their careers for nearly 10 years now, you're probably looking at Marcus Bontempelli. Just on consistency, he's always been up there, even though he hasn't won a Brownlow, which is a fucking... He could very well win it this year.
Wouldn't it be... It would be such a Bontempelli thing to see Isaac Heaney win it this year.
Yeah.
That would be just the Bontempelli, like, it would if he doesn't win it this year, he'll never win it.
Yeah.
But, I think... Yeah, like, you can't compare both of them to a Dacos because they're very different, because they're all different players, but the comparison of Heaney and Bontempelli's, you probably can give a comparison because they are, those mid-forwards who can take a contested mark, who can play forward, who can both kick, who can have 30-plus disposals and 3 goals.
Yeah.
So that comparison's there. I just think it's Bontempelli, but, by the end of both of their careers, we may be saying it's Heaney, but... Now, where they stand, I'd say Bont just.
When you're looking at the best players in the game, I know you can't. It's very hard to compare the likes of a Nick Dacos to an Isaac Heaney or a Marcus Bontempelli. But if you're starting your team now, like with Tassie for example, who are you throwing your money at? I would be chucking it at Isaac Heaney.
I'm taking it Butters.
You're taking it Butters, alright.
Nah, wait, are they all in their prime or are they the ages they are now? They are.
It's hard. Yeah, I mean, no, we're saying right now, so we'll go with now.
So they're all
they're all at their current moment in time.
Yeah, because everyone has a different opinion. I'd probably take Bont. I would take Bont.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm looking if I'm the Tassie team right now and I'm looking, I have the pick of the bunch or whatever. If I'm ranking like the best players that I would choose to go to, I'd probably be going Marcus Bontempelli first. Isaac Heaney probably second. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Sydney, even though Carl Mills has actually had a really good year as a captain, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Sydney go co-captains next year with Isaac Heaney. I'm a little surprised it hasn't already happened, but it couldn't be. I think he is a leader out there, even though he's not a captain. But I do probably put Marcus Bontempelli on top of that. Honestly, it'd be pretty tough between Butters and Nick Dacos, to be honest. The reason why I put the likes of Bontempelli in front and Isaac Heaney in front is because I just, like, even just last week, even though Nick Dacos had the 37 touches, he only had 6 score involvements, and it's like, he can accumulate, and he's such a great player. Like, even when the Swans play Collingwood, I'm like, fucking, can you stop talking about Nick Dacos? But anyway, I'd probably put Dacos third, and then Butters, when you watch him, he is such a great player. He probably would be around 4th there for me. And then 5th, it's very tough for me. I mean, look, a lot of me, I sing his praises all the time. I would probably put Errol Goulden there, but he's not playing at the moment, so I won't put Errol there. Wayne Nasaya probably would be around the mark. Hasn't had the greatest year so far. We're probably looking at like bold midfielders, but if I'm picking just out of the whole bunch, Cal Wilkie would be up there for mine.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think he's still very underrated in the game, even though he's been all Australian. I think he still is, and I think I just, for him, I love his story, how he made it from the Sandville into a team like that, and he's never missed.
Yeah.
He's never missed a game since his debut.
I mean, you look at people like Tom Stewart, and he's talked about all the time about that story, which is obviously great, and he's done amazing for his career. But I think Cal Wilkie is definitely is definitely like one of those stories that should be talked about a lot more. I think he was an accountant playing in the Sandful and then came to St Kilda.
Yeah.
And he's built a career off of it.
Yeah.
I mentioned him a little bit earlier in the episode with Finn Callahan. I think he could definitely. He's probably not a top 5 yet, but he definitely can be.
Yeah. Like if it was me, I'd go. Yeah, I'd say Bont, Heaney, probably Dacos. I'd actually go Butters then Dacos, just because he's had a bit more experience in the AFL, and I think he's maybe biased as well. You can chuck it on with half a dozen midfielders, really, but
even though like he hasn't had the biggest year recently, even Dawson,
I think
done well.
I think Dawson or there's just so many other big players like that a Lockie Neal, even though that he maybe not played that well this year, like last week, I think his season's been very underrated as well.
Yeah.
Lockie Neal, so he's still playing. He's at the elite level, as good as he is, and he is also one that could be on a Brownlow watch as well this year. So there's a lot of good.
Would you put Bailey Smith in the top 5 yet?
I was thinking him as well, and actually, the one thing on him is that his kicking efficiency is horrible, but he gets so much of the ball. But
he's the one who just gets the ball out, and
yeah,
he's 5 meters in front of you before you can blink.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put Bailey Smith in there from what he dealt with at the end of his Bulldogs career with his injury, to come into the Geelong side and be, dominating every week, 30 plus disposals every week, and changing games really.
Yeah.
So I'd say I would go with Bont, Heaney, Butters, Dacos, Bailey Smith.
Yeah, I'd probably be happy with that. I probably would turn Dacos and Butters around. Personally, because I think that Butters is a little bit more susceptible to a tag. I think Dacos has actually dealt with it quite well in this year especially. But yeah, I think those are probably my top 5. And I can't wait to see all the comments say that we're completely wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from that. And that's the end of Rated or Hated. Let's get to the preview to the new round, of course. Round 13. Round 12 coming. No, round 13 coming up. Of course, it is the Big Freeze 12. That's how I got it wrong. Let's get straight into it. Of course, a couple of teams got the bye this week in the Tigers and the Giants, but everyone else is ready to play. So 8 games coming up throughout round 13. The 4 big matchups going to be taking a look at this week, of course. We start with the Crows up against Geelong on Thursday night. Now, Geelong coming off a tough loss last week against the Blues, who have really hit some ripping form in the last couple of weeks under Josh Fraser, while the Crows coming off a tough loss 2 weeks ago against Hawthorn down in Tasmania. Now, big out for the Crows likely this week will be Isaac Rankin after injuring his calf a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like he's going to be out for an extended period, while Cal Archie could also be out as well. On Geelong's point of view, not really injury concern, but Mitch Edwards looks a bit tired from last week's game, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he's rested this week. With Reece Stanley being in some decent form in the VFL, I think Stanley could come in. While on the Crows' point of view, I think after Taylor Walker's good performance a couple of weeks ago in the Sandful, I think he will come back, and Mark Keane could also make a long-awaited return. Hasn't played a game so far this year, but I also think that he may need a run through the Sandful before coming back into the AFL side, so we just have to wait and see on that front. Now, the recent record between these two sides reads very heavily in Geelong's favour. The Cats have won all of their last 5 encounters against the Crows, so even though this is at Adelaide Oval this week, the Cats still have a very good record against them. But now moving to my tip, and I'm just going to have to go Geelong here. They have a very good record against Adelaide. The Adelaide Oval doesn't really threaten them, even though they did play the Power earlier in the year and lost there. They have a very good record against the Crows, so I'm going to be picking them, and Geelong simply don't tend to lose 2 games in a row. So I haven't been really impressed by the Crows this year. They've been able to beat some teams and get into a bit of form before the loss to the Hawks, but just with Phil Thorpe out of form, with Isaac Rankin likely out, I just have to go the Cats here. I think they get back on the winners list this week. Up next, we get to the Friday night contest between Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs. Now, the Hawks have got back into some ripping form over the last couple of weeks, getting back-to-back wins, while on the Bulldogs' point of view, just held on against Collingwood, with Selwood, of course, taking a big mark in the final moments to win a nail-biter. Now, Now, on Hawthorn's point of view on the injury front, they should see the return of Tom Barrass this week, which is much needed for them. While on the Dogs' point of view, they should see the return of Cleary through concussion protocols, and O'Donnell is scheduled to return as well. So 2 big inclusions to their defence. Now, in the recent record between these two sides, it does read Hawks, Hawks, Hawks. Hawthorn have won all of their last 5 encounters against the Western Bulldogs, so the brown and gold looking good this week. But now moving to my tip, and with Hawthorn returning to good form in the last couple of weeks, I just have to go with the Hawks here. Hawthorn have impressed all over the field over the last couple of weeks, even with the likes of Tom Barrass out. But I think the big advantage on Hawthorn's point of view is their forward line. I just can't see the Dogs' back line being able to stand up against the likes of Gunston, Nick Watson, Ginnivan, even Blake Hardwick when he goes up there. They've just got too many avenues to go, the Hawks. So with the back line of the Dogs being very questionable, I have to go with Hawthorn here. Next up, we get to the Q Clash, one of the most important ones between these two sides. Gold Coast against the Brisbane Lions, of course. Both teams will be looking to get back on track for their season, with the Suns dropping an absolute shocker a couple of weeks ago against North Melbourne, while Brisbane are in all sorts of trouble right now. Just can't seem to find a win. They got their 3rd straight loss last week and are looking like a shadow of their former selves. Brisbane really need to get back onto the winners list. They will be without Kitty Coleman after getting a hamstring injury against the Dockers last week, while the Gold Coast, on the other hand, could see a host of players return. They've got Will Graham, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, Lockie Weller, and Rogers all likely to be available. So interesting to see if the Gold Coast will make a couple of big inclusions this week. Now, between these two respective sides, the Lions, of course, have the wood over the Gold Coast Suns, winning 4 of their last 5 encounters. Of course, Brisbane have a good record, but they're not in great form right now, so very interesting matchup, this one. Let's get to my tip, and this is super tough. Both of these teams aren't in great form right now, not really being reliable. However, purely for the fact that this is at home for the Gold Coast, I am going to go the Suns. Last week was really a chance for the Lions to get back into some good form, even if they didn't win against Fremantle. If they played a good brand of footy and looked like to returning to some good form, I would have probably picked Brisbane, but they look a shell of their form themselves right now. The Lions really don't like how they're playing, and even though I've stuck strong with them throughout a lot of this year, Brisbane, my finals hopes for the Brisbane Lions are really starting to drop off as grand final contenders or premiership contenders, so I'm just going to go the Gold Coast here to return to some form. I don't think Demma Hardwick will be too impressed by their performance against North Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. But finally, of course, the last game of the round we're going to be looking at as well is Collingwood up against Melbourne. The big freeze, obviously a lot more meaning towards this one as well with the passing of Neil Danaher. So Melbourne are going to be trying to fight as hard as they possibly can, while Collingwood, on the other hand, will be looking to try and get back a win this week, after nearly being able to steal it against the Dogs last week when going down by 4 points. But on Melbourne's point of view, having one of the surprise packets of this season, but have been prone to losing games like this to teams that they really should be beating. Now, Harry Perryman could be back for the Pies this week after being out with a hammy over the last couple of weeks, of course, so he could be back, while on Melbourne's point of view, Jake Lever could make his way back after being out with concussion over the last couple of weeks. Now, we have to mention the MCG record of the Melbourne Football Club, because they have been absolutely exceptional at the home of footy this year, with 0 losses at the venue so far this campaign. So Melbourne love playing at the G, while Collingwood have actually lost 2 of their games at the MCG this year. So Melbourne really are making it a fortress over there. Now, Collingwood have won their last 5 encounters against Melbourne, but we have seen the D's return to some form this year after a couple of years in the wilderness, you'd say. So that record doesn't exactly 100% matter, but Collingwood still have the wood over Melbourne in the recent encounters. But let's move to our tip for this game, and another tough one in my eyes, as the Pies always really seem to pull their teams down to their level and make it really hard to score against them. But with Melbourne being able to find a lot of really good avenues to goal, and for the fact that this is at the MCG, I just have to go the D's. They have made it an absolute fortress at the MCG this year. Doing it for Neil Danaher, I think that'll be enough for the Melbourne Footy Club to get over the line. So picking Melbourne there. But for now, guys, let's get to our full tips for round 13. My tips are Geelong to beat the Crows, Hawthorn to beat the Dogs, Fremantle to beat North Melbourne, the Gold Coast to beat Brisbane, Port Adelaide to beat the West Coast Eagles, Sydney to beat St Kilda, Carlton to beat Essendon, and then Melbourne to beat Collingwood. And my brother's full tips for round 13 are Geelong to beat Adelaide, Hawthorn to beat the Western Bulldogs, Fremantle to beat North Melbourne, the Gold Coast to beat Brisbane, Port Adelaide to beat the West Coast Eagles, Sydney to beat St Kilda, Carlton to beat Essendon, and then Melbourne to win the big freeze against the Pies. So now, guys, let's move into our AFL fantasy recap for the week. I'm going to start off first because, I mean, look, overall, it doesn't look as bad as what I thought originally, but I got 1,723, which ranked at 12,389 for my round rank. And my overall rank has gone to 9,326. So, look, I thought 1,700 was actually a lot worse, but 12,000 rank isn't too bad. Now, looking at the best players of the week, Lockie Ash, brilliant performance from him with the 131. I think that's a season high for him. It wasn't his best, but definitely his best of the last month or so. Nick Dacos with 109, you do take that. Sam Walsh with the 109, I was pretty happy with. Bailey Smith, I took his vice captaincy score of 126 up to 252. Willem Dersmer, I think that's his career best game with the 109. Brilliant from him. And Jordan De Goey, I did bring him in. I made this trade after the video. I had a choice of him because I had to get rid of someone. I can't even remember who it was in the end. It was Isaac Rankin. No, it was Braden Cook I had to get rid of. It was either him or Jack Ross. And I was like, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to go with Jordan De Goey, because he's getting a lot more midfield time and he's not going to get tagged with Nick Dacos in the team. And it paid off in dividends. So 127 from Jordan De Goey. Best game of the year from him. So absolutely outstanding. In his last 4 weeks, he's got 103 occasions. So, and in his last, 6 weeks, he's only got under 80 once. So it looks like Jordan De Goey is a very good choice at the moment. But then we get to the negatives. And oh boy, there's a lot of negatives. So Archie Roberts with the 78. Not great. Should have done better. Josh Dacos.
He was tagged.
Still not good enough. Against West Coast. I mean, yes, Milan Murdoch's on you, but do better. Josh Dacos with the 79. I'm starting to get sick of him. Send him down to Tassie. Not worth it. Rechko, he's a rookie, so you can't really be that disappointed. But 45, do better. Sam Cumming with the 54. Like I said before, I hate Cumming now. Tanner Bruin with the 54 average. Luke Jackson, I don't know what's going on with him recently. I know Mason Cox has joined the team, but he's really that intimidating. 72 from him. Banfield with the 39. Cozzy Pickett up in Darwin. Kick goal of the year contender. And was like, settle down, boys. That's all I'm going to do. Not even going to help you win this game.
Yeah, tagged by fucking Bedford as well.
Yeah, well, I don't care if you're getting tagged. Do better. And then Sam Flanders, this was a bit unfortunate.
Oh, it was horrible. Just it gets the handball received by Wilkie and then takes one step and he does his Achilles. Fucking
just when you got triple position.
Yeah,
status.
just as he got the.
Sam, fucking what? How selfish?
Yeah, I got one of mates was messaging me straight away when it happened, and he's like, "Just as he gets the triple position player, you fucking kidding me?"
Such good flexibility. Yeah, he's fucking gone. And Bontempelli with the 86, not ideal. But looking at your team for this week,
somehow I did fucking worse than you. I got 1600 on the dot, which was ranked about 40,000.
Yeah, that's not great.
So, yeah, let's just go to the positives. Sinclair, 109. I took the VC score of Bailey Smith. Walsh with 109. And Jagger Smith with a 90. And Milan Murdoch with 96.
So two rookies got your highest score.
Yeah, and yeah. Let's just get to the negatives that, was horrible. Jaden Short, 79. Well, I don't know. Why did you? Your whole team didn't show up in Sydney. So did you.
To be fair, that was probably one of the highest scores from the team.
Yeah, what was that? He was actually one of the highest scores of the game. Yeah. Jack Bowie gets an 80. It's horrible. It's a bit his last score of the year, which some other players were horrible the entire week. I will take Dan Houston coming back from his score of like 40 odd. He got 90, so I'll take that one. Jack's still 71.
He got dropped off the face of the cliff, hasn't he?
Just stop handballing it.
Start kicking the football.
Kicking the ball. I won't take any shot at the rookies. They're all pretty pathetic this week. What was another one? Shea Bolton, 70. Whatever role you're playing, it's not good. I don't care if you're going to win the flag. You need to perform. Justin McInerney does his ankle when he decides to have a rest.
He rolled his ankle.
Whatever.
Dean Cox is more. He must have had Isaac Heaney in his team. He's like, Justin, sit down, mate. You're all right. Isaac, get out there. He grabbed his fucking hamstring. I'm fucking screaming at you with 100 points up against the Tigers. I'm like messaging you, going, take him off the ground. But Dean's like, nah, boys, leave him on, leave him up forward. He'll go get 5 for us.
Yeah.
What a wait. But anyway, at least he's fine. Thank fuck.
Yeah, that was my horrible week. Really, that's probably the worst week. I know buys and all that come into it, but that was one of the worst weeks I've had in years.
Yeah, that was poor. So let's move to our trades. Of course, you get the 3 trades this week. I have gone Sam Flanders out. I've picked up Jordan Dawson of the Crows. Sam Cumming I've got out. And I've picked up Hall Khan. He's picked up in the mid-season draft from the Adelaide Crows. Defensive midfielder, basement price. I may change that depending on if there's any other debutants or anyone I want to pick. But a player who's from a team who's already had a bye is nice. He actually got picked up by the Swans in the mid-season draft a couple of years ago. Didn't get a game. Played up forward, but now he's playing he played for Williamstown, I believe.
Yeah.
And like an electrifying running defender sounds promising.
Mm.
I'm not going to put too much on him yet, but that sounds good. And then my other trade was Lindsay out. I think he's done very well. I think he's cashed out now. And I've picked up Wayne Millerer. So those are my trades at the moment, which means at this stage in time, I'm pretty happy with these 3 trades, but I really wish it wasn't Sam Flanders. I mean, I wish it was someone else, but I had to get rid of him.
He was doing so well in the game as well.
Yeah. He was on 36 and was midway through.
Midway through the second, wasn't it? Or halfway, just the start of the second or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was already doing so good. And since he's been moved back to halfback, he's been amazing. So that's unfortunate, but happy with my trades. Jordan Dawson. And that means I actually have no money left. 0 in my salary. So I could have gone with Rechko out, but I thought I'll keep him for another week. I know he's got the bye, but I think one more week I've got to get rid of some other players especially the round 16 bye and the round 15 bye. I have a lot of players in, so I'm like, I think I can hold on to one of these maybe for an extra week or 2, see if they can go up in price a little bit more. I think Sam Cummings probably not going to go up any higher. So those are my trades currently. We'll get to how my team's going, my planning going forward for the next few weeks, but let's go to your trades.
So mine probably will change because of different things. I could have got Hulk. Yeah, I could have got him, but I just don't really like his job security and I don't really know what his role is going to be. I think he'll be off the wing halfback, but I don't really like the job security there. But I think I may go with that one later in the week. But I went with Rechko for Tom Alphabet from Port Adelaide.
Tom Alphabet, love
Yep, that's how Port Adelaide announce it.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to try and
never. Yeah, not even Chad Corns will try that. Got rid of Sam Flanders and I got Noah Anderson, and I got rid of Sam Walsh and I got Jordan Dawson. Okay. Which leads me with 116 so far in the kitty, but with all the other I think I was planning on getting rid of Sam Cumming, but it wouldn't allow me to get anyone decent or some rookies that have actually played. So, but maybe I will go with the Crows player, but we'll see later in the week when the teams come out.
Okay. So I think tomorrow we'll see the teams for Thursday, obviously.
Which is what I want to look at least. I want to just...
But they have announced the Hull Khan is going to be debuting. So that's why I've stuck with that for the moment. But just going over my team quickly for this week. First of all, my vice-captain will be on Bailey Smith against the Crows. I think it's a pretty safe bet.
Same.
Captain at the moment is on Harry Sheasel against the Dockers.
And same.
So it's tough. Like, Butters against the West Coast Eagles, it looks tempting, but...
It's not actually. Have you actually looked at the stats?
No.
He actually averages like 70, like 80. Wait, let me check. He averages against West Coast 76.
Okay. Well,
yeah, he doesn't perform well there.
Archie Roberts against the Blues, maybe, but I don't really like giving it to a defender.
Yeah, but I did look at the where he played last week under Dean Solomon. He did play off halfback, but
if they're going to be playing they're playing Ben Mackay in the ruck and forward, I've heard for the Bombers. I don't mind that. Look, to be honest, I don't actually mind it, but I think it's a weird decision considering you signed him as $1 million defender. But anyway, with my team now, it looks like my defense is pretty well sorted. I've got with Lockie Ash in my actual regular team. That means the worst defender in my team currently in my best team is Bailey Dale with 89 average. So I'm happy with that. In the midfield, I've still got Tanner Bruin and I've still got Willem Dersma. Dersma's hit some good form, so I'm happy to hold him for a bit longer. Bruin, it probably needs to go soon, but I'm happy to hold him for later. Lockie McAndrew in the ruck is concerning, but almost more concerning right now is Luke Jackson's form. In his last 3 weeks, he's averaged 78.
Yeah.
He's got to do better than that. Lockie McAndrew has averaged 77 in his last 3. So Luke Jackson needs to improve more. Unfortunately, the ruck stocks aren't easy to choose from. Like, you can go with Brodie Grundy, obviously, but 2 of his last 3 games, he's scored under 80 or less.
Yeah.
So that's where you get a bit concerned. And other ruck options include Max Gawn, which is probably the best.
But he's got the bye.
He's got the bye coming up, and he's got that really hard bye. Tristan Cherry would be a good option, but he has been a bit inconsistent this year. Peter Laddams, I should have really gone with Peter Laddams. Got 100 last week, by the way.
It proved that if Grundy played, he could have got a fucking 130, and he would have actually... I've had Grundy for 3 weeks, and he for those 2 weeks that he had shit games. But I was actually going to go with him this week because I knew he'd score.
Well, interesting one could be Darcy Cameron. The Pies have to buy next week. Since Steen went out against the Swans, he's come back. He played the Eagles, got 124. Played the Dogs, got 103. The Darcy Cameron could be an option going forward.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a roughie.
That's the one I'm looking at.
And Tim English as well. Like Tim English.
But he's got the 16 bye.
Yeah,
That's why I'm thinking of, with Jackson out next week with the bye, do I swap him for Cameron? No, wait, sorry, with English, and then swap him for Grundy, and then keep, I don't know, Grundy and English is my ruck for next year, for after the buys. But it's a very tempting, annoying one to have.
Yeah.
Because I think English is the option if he's fit.
Yeah. And if he gets another head knock though, it could be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the thing.
So Lockie McAndrew is my real one there. I have to look to get rid of, but I did hold him over the bye because I had to get rid of Isaac Rankin last week. My forward line is really only with Murdoch. Jason Horne-Francis. If he didn't have that game 2 weeks ago where he had 120 odd points in that game against Carlton, he probably would have been gone. Cosy Pickett's a bit concerning. My forward line's probably the most concerning out of all my positions right now. Two players in Horne-Francis and Pickett have been a bit down in recent weeks. Murdoch, he's been very consistent, but I feel like you have to get rid of him at some point. And Jordan De Goey, obviously been in great form recently, but there's a bit of a question mark on him on how consistent he's going to be for the rest of the year. But really, my team's got two rookies left in the team. You got two mid prices in Bruin and McAndrew. And then, there's a couple of concerns with Pickett and Horne-Francis, but five players, three trades, they could be fixed pretty quick. My rookies, you got Rechko, who kind of has to go soon, but he's still going up in price, so I'm happy to hold him for another week. Mitch Edwards, he's my ruck reserve that I'm just going to hold for the next week or two while my other players have buys in the ruck.
And the good thing is that he's got the 16 buy, so
get rid of him there. Leo Lombard's probably going pretty soon, but right now he's okay to sit there. He's actually gone up in recent weeks. I think he's been playing a little bit more midfield, which is good to see for the Suns, and it's averaged up around the 50s and 60s, which is at least getting his price going up a bit more. That's kind of about it. That's probably my best team. My best team's coming up in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at your plans quickly.
So I've still got Josh Lindsay in my team. I'm going to keep him till their buy in round 15, and then I might even next week actually get rid of him and get that Hulk Cohen and bank the 400k from it. I want to get rid of Bruin and Steele. He's still just, I don't even know what he's doing on the field. He's getting so many disposals, but he's only handballing it. I've still got Jagger Smith, which will probably go next week, and Milan Murdoch in his buy. I've got Angry Anderson and Oscar Steen and Max Heath. They've got a bit of cash on them. And Banfield from the Saints, which he's got some money as well. So when they've got their buy in round 16. So there's a few players like that. Justin McInerney has not really performed, and with his injury has actually destroyed his cash generation now with his score. But my midfield, I actually like my midfield. It's just that if I get rid of Bruin and Steele, I can have that pretty good team. So I'm liking my team. It's just that the buy rounds, I was expecting to do a lot better, but I also was expecting my rookies in my team to do some sort of something. But they all scored less than 60, all my rookies in my midfield, which hampered my score. Yeah. But I'm actually happy with my defense, which I will take. So
that's pretty much our AFL fantasy for this week, and that's pretty much all we've got for footy right in this episode. But of course, with only a few weeks away, it's basically a week and a half away now, the FIFA World Cup 2026 will begin. So we thought we'd give our little standing predictions, very, very uneducated opinions of soccer, world soccer, of course. But we just wanted to give these ones quickly. So we're just going to go through the group stages and go through our little predictions. So we'll start with Group A, of course. Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czech Republic. It's going to, obviously Mexico are one of the hosting nations. It's hard to go by it. I obviously look at South Korea and you're like, Son probably is. But you're talking about the Messi and Ronaldo fairy tale stories of ending their careers with the last World Cup. Not to say they're going to win it or anything, but it's probably be Hai Sung Min's last World Cup as well.
Probably. It probably would be actually. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? This is a pretty an even sort of group.
I think Mexico will come in second.
Yeah.
But I think I think Czech Republic. No, I think it's such a tough group. To be honest, with it being the host nation, Mexico finished top, South Korea, Czech Republic, then South Africa.
Okay.
I think that's how I would go.
I'd probably put Korea in front of Mexico, even though it is in the host nation of Mexico. I mean, they only beat us 1-0 last week, and we weren't at our best.
Oh no, we were horrible. We were terrible, but yeah.
I'd probably go with Korea and Mexico swapping around, and that's probably what I would go. So we'll go with that for the A group. I don't know what it's doing now. So in Group B, you've got Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. This is another there's a couple of teams here you'd think would split away from the others.
Yeah.
So Bosnia were just one of the last few teams to qualify for the World Cup.
I think it goes Switzerland, Bosnia.
Ooh.
To be honest, Canada, then Qatar.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably swap Canada and Bosnia around because Canada are obviously one of the hosts. I think Bosnia, obviously Edin Dzeko, but after that, who's really there? I don't know. Obviously, Zedjan Shaqiri's not in the team for Switzerland. Absolutely diabolical.
He went, yeah.
Diabolical. I don't think Switzerland should be able to compete without him, to be fair with you.
Yeah.
I like that sort of look.
Yeah.
With Switzerland and Canada swapping around.
I think it's just tough to Qatar's. They seem to be that team, Qatar, that will get in there every year with who they play in their in the Asian qualifiers.
Yeah.
But they will never perform in them.
Yeah, I can't see them doing much. I mean, if they finish above fourth, I think that's a pretty good finish for them.
Yeah.
Group C, you've got Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland.
I think it goes about Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, then
Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti bottom. Haiti.
That's tough for Haiti and for Scotland as well. Morocco, of course, were the dream story in the last World Cup, made it into the semi-final. Scotland have a couple of good players.
Yeah.
McTominay, Andy Robertson, a former Liverpool player, now moving to Tottenham apparently. Brazil were very disappointing in the last World Cup from my recollection, but here's Neymar's fairy tale story. He is named. So interesting to see. If Haiti finish off bottom, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for them, they've got that group.
Yeah.
Now we've got the Australian group and the US group. We're going to save that one for last because that's just going to cock tease for all of you. Group E, Germany. Who the hell is that again?
Cape Verde.
Curacao.
Yeah.
Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Well, Germany finished.
Yeah, Germany top. Yeah, that's just obvious.
That's interesting.
I think it's I think Ecuador can.
You think Ecuador?
Actually, no. Ivory Coast. They always seem to perform in these sort of events, don't they?
Yeah, I would.
I think.
Ivory
Yeah,
Coast
and then
Ecuador.
Yeah,
and
then Ecuador. Then
Curacao.
Yeah.
I think that's who they are. I mean, no offense to them. I mean, maybe they can pull it something like a third place, but it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia in Group F.
That's actually the group of death. I think.
You think?
It's very hard to predict it. I just
never an easy game.
No, there's a lot of. I don't think there's a. To be honest,
here's what I would go. I'd go Netherlands, Japan. I'm actually going to say Tunisia and Sweden. Now, the reason why I say that is because Sweden didn't actually really qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, they didn't.
They got through based off the Euros.
And the thing is that Isak's been injured for most of the season.
I mean, he
hasn't really done much.
I mean, they've got Gyökeres.
To be honest, I think it may be a big call. I think Japan win the group over Netherlands.
Okay.
I think Japan have played very well, and they don't technically. I don't think they lost. Maybe once I think they only lost once in the whole qualifiers.
They have some good players.
Yeah, and they do have some good players, and I think they will shock. There's always that one team that shocks, and with it being a European team in the Netherlands, they're like, oh well, no one's going to compete against them. I just think that Japan have played very well. I think Tunisia will finish third, and Netherlands will finish second. Okay. I just think Sweden, they could be that surprise team, to be honest, but I just don't see it.
I think they have a very good attacking team. They've got so many great strikers, but after that, it kind of drops off.
Yeah.
Moving to Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Mo Salah probably his last World Cup.
Yeah, I think Egypt, Belgium.
You think Egypt first?
Yep.
Belgium, okay.
I'm going to go New Zealand and then Iran.
Okay, that's interesting because Iran are ranked, I think, 27 in the world.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's their first World Cup in 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
or something like that. And Chris Wood and all that. Yes, Chris Wood's had his injuries this season. The new
of course,
guy
the
in
GOAT, Tim Payne.
I was about to say the GOAT in Tim Payne. I think there's gonna be a lot of hype around New Zealand for the World Cup.
I'd love to see New Zealand do something.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of like the tyranny against Australia. Like, that'd be interesting though. I'd like to see New Zealand do something. Group H, you got Spain, Cape Verde, is that Pakistan?
Saudi
Arabia, and Uruguay. Well, Spain finished top. Oh, did you see Luis Suarez wasn't named for Uruguay? They left him out of the team. Shocking.
Oh, they didn't leave the biter in there
No,
to intimidate.
Intimidation tactics.
Yeah, Spain finished top. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, and then Cape Verde.
So you put Saudi Arabia going into the round of 32?
Yep.
Okay. Cape Verde actually, I think, won on the weekend in their friendly. But I probably agree with you. I'd probably go Spain, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, and then Cape Verde. Moving to Group I, France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. That's a tough group.
Yeah, I think France finished top.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, Senegal, of course, won the recent African tournament, the African Cup of Nations. Norway, of course, obviously have the robot himself.
Yeah, but that's all they got. It's basically all they've got, though. Senegal finished second.
Norway did win, I think, their group qualifiers.
Nah, just go Norway because I think they'll get enough goals to not finish bottom.
So you think they'll finish
third? They'll finish third, and Senegal will finish. Yeah, Norway finished third. Senegal second.
Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. And Group J, you've got the reigning champs in Argentina, Algeria. What's that again? It's Austria, moron, and Jordan. So
there's always always the winner of the previous World Cup performs shithouse.
Yeah, that is like a thing.
Isn't it?
But I mean,
surely not in that group. But
that group's pretty. I mean, like Algeria are pretty good. But I mean, is Mahrez in
Jordan?
Algeria have some good players though. They have a few, but Argentina.
Surely Argentina finished top. Then Algeria, Jordan, Austria.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of any Austrian player.
Yeah,
I'd go with that. So moving to Group K, we have Portugal. Is that the Congo? So we got Portugal, Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia.
Pretty straightforward, I think. Portugal, Colombia, Congo. Then yeah. I don't think there's any dispute on that one. I'll be very surprised if that doesn't go how it's the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair call, really. In Group L, we've got England. It's coming home, boys. Maybe this year. Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. You know what? I'm going to give Croatia the lead.
I actually think so. There's not a lot of talk about England really that much at the moment.
I'll put them second though.
I think they will finish second. They always do, and it might be a better thing for them. I know, because then there's less expectation on them. But it's not coming home. I doubt it.
Ghana and Panama.
Ghana.
Yeah.
The African teams normally surprise, and with these conditions that it seems to be in the World Cup, in the America, Mexico, Canada, they could surprise a few, those sort of African teams.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if someone does in Morocco, and I mean we saw that with the World Cup in Qatar. They're like Morocco made that big push in the end. But of course, now we get to the biggest group of the World Cup, US's group, of course, Group D. USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Yeah. It's a tough group. It's a tough group to pick from because you think anyone could make top, but then anyone could finish on bottom. Now, of course, the US are hosting this tournament, and usually the hosts usually do well.
Yeah. I would say I don't want to say it, but I think the US will finish top.
Okay. I will say, I know I want to put Australia top.
I don't think we do, though.
I want to put Australia in the top too, but
I don't think we do. I just don't think our performances have shown that we can do it. And even though, last World Cup, we didn't. When it came into it, it was very tough. But I think. What
did you think about the whole Volpato being selected?
I can understand it, but I think they've just chucked him in because, he's played for the clubs in Italy. He wants to play for Australia. You chuck him in.
I think a big call as well is because Riley McGree is out.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I think they've said is that he plays a very similar role. So bringing him in is not going to change the formation or the structure of how Australia play. I think, but Australia has to come off with momentum in the first game. It's just not going to happen if we just I think it goes to US, Turkey, Paraguay. No, sorry, Australia, then Paraguay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, No, you know what? Fuck yeah. I'm going to go... I will agree with you, but I think to make this video a lot better... No, I think I'd agree with you on US. I think they finished top. No. It's got to be Turkey. I think Turkey have enough...
Yeah, I think there's... I think...
Yeah,
I think people don't... I think, obviously, because it's in... The intimidation of the Turkish league and Turkish football is actually very fierce. And that's why I think that they will finish in the top 2, even though they were one of the last teams to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm happy, but I'm gonna put Turkey top, Australia second, US to miss, and Paraguay to finish last.
I don't care if we don't get to the group stage. If we beat the USA, that's what I want. That's all I want. Yeah, I just want to beat the US after all they're such a cocky cunts of. And as what most of them don't realize is that we are one to just circle that into the week.
Australia love to fucking be underdogs.
Oh, 100%.
They don't want to fucking... The US love to be fucking cocky arseholes too. So if they lose that, oh my God. And of course, when the draw was announced, they were so fucking arrogant about, yes, this is such a walk in the park. We're going to make it all the way to the round of fucking 32 easily. It's like, okay, bro. You got Australia who have... I mean, we beat Denmark with a team that was probably worse than this one. The team of Australia going into this World Cup is very young.
Yeah.
But if they can get, like you said, that first result against Turkey will probably decide if we can actually compete in this World Cup as a team that gets out of the group stage. I think that's probably going to be the big call. So, with that being said, we've got all the way through now. Let's get to so pick the best third place teams. Okay, so I think the best third place teams go through, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because it's the best of 32 this year.
All right, we'll just go with them then. Okay, so let's go to the knockouts. So we've got Germany up against Scotland. Germany. France up against the US.
France.
Sucked in US. Mexico up against Canada. Interesting one.
Mexico.
Yeah,
I think it depending on where that is, to be honest. Yeah.
Japan up against Morocco. That's interesting.
I think a lot of people are thinking that just because Morocco played so well in the last World Cup, they're going to do it again. But I think there's high hopes for Japan.
Yeah.
I think there's high hopes for them.
Colombia up against England. I think in the conditions, I think I'll go Colombia.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Spain against Algeria. That's Spain. Turkey against Tunisia. Interesting.
Tunisia.
You think Tunisia beat Turkey?
Yeah.
Okay. Egypt up against Czech Republic. I think you go Egypt there.
Yep.
Brazil up against the Netherlands. God, that'd be a fucking shit round of 32 game for those two. Imagine going out there. I'd go Brazil.
I think Brazil. Yeah.
Ivory Coast against Senegal. So two African nations here.
Senegal. I think there's a lot more firepower for them.
Yeah. And then maybe Sadio Mane's last World Cup? Could be. South Korea up against Uruguay.
South Korea.
You think Korea, yeah. Croatia up against Congo. I think you go Croatia. Argentina up against Saudi Arabia. So you've got to go Argentina there.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's unfair. We got Drew Belgium. That's unfair. No, I want to redraw.
Yeah.
We would lose that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Switzerland up against Ecuador. Got to go.
I think Ecuador under the conditions.
Yeah. Portugal up against Norway. I think you go Portugal.
And then Haaland kicks a hat trick and Ronaldo gets a hat trick.
Yeah, that would be a good game. Then in the round of 16, we've got Germany up against France. That would be tough.
It's hard to say. Fucking hell. Probably Germany.
You pick Germany?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, they do. The team who won the last one doesn't necessarily go out and play very well. And Germany obviously had a really bad tournament last time, so maybe they do get a bit of redemption.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
So Germany, Mexico and Japan, you still riding the Japan train? I would.
Yeah, let's go, yeah.
Colombia up against Spain. I think Spain. One of my favourites. Tunisia up against Egypt. Two African nations again.
I think Egypt. I think Mo Salah's really going to try and do something in this tournament.
Brazil up against Senegal. I think you have to go Brazil. South Korea up against Croatia. I mean, Croatia always have fire.
Yeah, I think Croatia. They always seem to be underdogs, and they always seem to perform.
Argentina up against Belgium. I think Argentina. Belgium always tend to fucking shit their
bottle it in the big tournaments.
Yeah, and then Ecuador up against Portugal. I think you go Portugal there.
Yeah.
So then into the quarterfinals, you got Germany and Japan.
Probably Germany.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we ended there. Spain up against Egypt. I think Spain.
Yeah.
Brazil up against Croatia.
Brazil.
Yeah. And then Argentina up against Portugal. Oh,
Oh,
Messi up against
That would.
Ronaldo. That
That's
would be
what
awesome.
everyone would want, and we'll see who the best one is. And I think Messi does it.
Yeah,
I think Messi goes from back to back.
You think they go?
No. I think at least they're going to get a chance to go back to back.
Germany up against Spain.
Yeah. The favourites are Spain. So, but I don't know the stat of the favourites going into a tournament like this. I think
It's tough to go with it.
I think it is Spain though. I think that they've got the team, they've got everything lined up for them.
And then Brazil up against Argentina.
Can Martinez do what he did last time?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough because Brazil had a down World Cup last time, so you think they respond. They've got
Yeah.
a lot of really good players.
The same with Argentina.
Yeah, I think you got Argentina.
Yeah.
So that would bring us to a World Cup final between Spain and Argentina.
And I'm gonna go with back to back because of the conditions, and I think they'll be best for it.
Okay.
Argentina.
I'll say Spain.
Mm.
I think Spain are my favourites. I think that there's a reason why they are. I think players like Lamine Yamal are too hard to beat. There's probably a question mark on their striker,
Yeah.
but I think in the conditions like that, fast players I think are going to be big, and I think that Spain have the squad.
Mm.
But, I mean, that would be a great World Cup final.
Mm.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter because Australia are going to win it anyway.
Yeah. We're gonna win the odds at like whatever they are at 5,001. We're gonna pull a Leicester.
Yeah, we're going to pull Leicester City, Australia.
Yeah.
It's coming home.
Yeah.
Fuck England. Yeah, guys, that's our very, basic predictions. I think it's going to be a big World Cup. Probably bring up the World Cup a little bit in the podcast throughout the rest of the year. Throughout the rest of as the World Cup goes on for about a month or so. So, stay tuned for that if you do like your soccer talk as well. Hopefully Australia can do something in the Socceroos. At least get out of the group stage. That'd be good to see.
Yeah.
Do as good as we did last World Cup. But guys, that's pretty much all we have for you for this episode of the Boundary Riders podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, of course, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and over on Spotify. Of course, make sure to leave us 5 stars and make sure to follow so you're notified of the podcast every single week. But again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next week.
See you later, guys.